Welcome to another episode of St Vincent Untold Stories. Farmers were told that in order to receive monies that was promised to them by the regime at the end of every month, that they need to get a farmer's ID. But some farmers are saying that they have the ID, and up to this day they haven't received any monies. And they can't see how that is possible when they are from the red zone, and the persons from outside of the red zone are getting and they are not. Persons from Sandy Bay and surrounding areas are saying that since the volcanic eruptions has ended, there have been no bridges constructed. Too many potholes in a Sabutu Caesar's area. Persons are wondering if it is a setup because persons want Sabutu over the big man's son. Questions are being asked. What is going to happen after December is finished and the World Food Program stop sending monies to Western Union? How is the people going to survive under extreme poverty when there are no factories and no industries for them to get jobs? Big ups to all of my subscribers, and if you are new to the channel, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and hit the bell icon if you wish to see more videos like this one. Please hold on to your seats as we look at these chilling untold stories. These stories are going to shake you. Right now, St Vincent and the Grenadines is under extreme poverty. Someone alleged that the poorest places were North Central Windward and North Windward. We want to know if those allegations came from a census that was conducted earlier. You see, before the volcanic eruptions, some persons from those areas couldn't even afford a bread. Do you know that some persons are excited that the volcano erupted? Because the volcano erupted, they are now getting food supplies on a regular basis. They are getting monies from the World Food Programs and help from other organizations. Some saw the volcanic eruptions as a plus and some saw it as a minus. There are persons who never lifted a stroke in their life, always hanging out on blocks looking for handouts. Some call them idle and some call them lazy, but I don't call them that. I just say time to time they would catch themselves and realize that time has passed and left them behind. And when they are older, they would say, you know what, I had the opportunity when I was younger and I failed to do certain things, so I have to blame myself. We are seeing an increase of crimes from persons that don't live in the red zone, especially persons going into homes and business places. You know why now? Because the red zone isn't the poorest right now, because they are getting food supplies. There are other areas now suffering. You see, after December, when there are no more lines at the Western Union, and kids are hungry, and tummies are aching, then there would be an increase in crimes. I told you before that poverty is one of the main contributors when it comes to criminal activities. Earlier in our previous videos, we used to play a song clip by the great Ed Tanner called Have to Pull the Trigger Again. Do you remember those words from that song? Have you ever watched that video when the boy was always looking for a job because his mother was sick and he was always turned away? He had a lot of subjects. The area he was from was a main factor. The way he looked was a main factor. You see, some persons don't really get it, because they don't live in a realistic world. They met everything easy, so they don't understand what is going on in the ghettos. There are persons who would struggle to get jobs when you might get it easy because somebody knows you and knows your family. That's why I always appeal to the Vincentian people to help out their family and their family members. Do what the Indians are doing. Try to increase your generational wealth. Do not look at someone and say, you know what, I don't want to give him this, I don't want to give her that. Give it to them. Give them a start in life. You heard that song from Skillibeng? At. Look around carefully. Look at the places on the countryside, for example, Sandy Bay and Fancy. Do you see crimes happening in those areas? No, sir, because the people are friendly and neighbors are talking to neighbors. In areas like Glen now, you have places where neighbors don't even know one another and live inside one another for years. Things could have been better in St. Vincent if not for selfishness. You know, some man get some ranking pose and tell themselves them rich. Rich, oh, you forgot a yard, boy. You forgot a yard, girl. Sometime eventually in a life you have to come a yard and face the same family that you refuse to help. Face the same friend them that you refuse to help. When you get an opportunity, you're supposed to go out there and look back and make sure that everything's safe at your yard. You see this January coming, it would be one of the hardest Januaries you've ever seen. Remember they often say that January is the longest month in the year? That's the way it seems because persons normally spend up all their monies in a Christmas. But not only monies would be spent up in Christmas, the World Food Program monies would stop coming in. The boxes would lessen. Farmers are from the red zone that have the farmers' ID are saying that some of them got monies one time and some of them didn't get any at all. While there are persons from the orange zones getting in front of them. So they are asking the question, is it a favorism? Because they can't understand when the red zone got the most damages and they haven't received anything up to this day. One of the families complaining, I know them personally, and I know that they belong to the yellow side. Could it be now that it is a side thing as well? Didn't I warn you? Didn't I tell you that this regime doesn't play fair? This regime believes in theirs alone. Some of the persons that are getting the farm monies, they don't even work any lands. And one individual that is complaining, I know that her and her boyfriend normally goes to the lands every day at about 4 o'clock every morning and they don't come back sometimes until night. And their names are not on that list. Oh, come on, man. What are we doing in St. Vincent? Why does everything has to be sides and favorism? Why there are men and women walking around saying that they can beat the justice system because they have people in high places? You see, anytime there is no accountability at the top, then everything crumbles. You see, a little birdie sang to us and told us that some members of the regime was demoted because of certain things that they were carrying on with. So eventually persons will start speaking out, telling us what the regime was doing wrong. We showed you that chilling video with Popeye's roof. Up to now, nothing is being done to help the man. Bragsa, Bragsa. The people are saying that you are the ones responsible for the road cleanups in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So how comes that in some areas the grass was taken up but the sand is still there? You can see in some areas where they heaped up the sand, but that sand needs to be moved because it is creating a hazard. Some vendors complained yesterday that they did not make any money at all because the farmers were paid with checks and some were paid through the banks. You see on the day that the road money was paid, that should have been the day when the vendors could have made a little money to help themselves. But no, they paid it differently. You see what happened yesterday is that some persons got checks and the banks were already filled. And by the time some persons got their checks, the bank was closed. BOSVG, over the years you have been doing a wonderful job. But what we can't understand right now, why are some of your branches being closed at 2 o'clock on a Friday when you know that is the time workers are getting paid and some persons don't have a bank card? And why is the branch at Argyle being closed at 12 noon? That should be a 24-hour banking service. We say in St. Vincent that we want to upgrade, but we are not really upgrading, we are going backwards. Because we can't understand why we are saying that we have tourists coming in and we want more tourists to come in and we are doing those things. So because the other banks are not doing the 24-hour banking service, that doesn't mean that you can't do it. In times in life, you have to be a leader. There are a lot of things in St. Vincent that needs to be upgraded and we have to upgrade them immediately. With that being said, I just want to big up the entire population in St. Vincent, the regional islands and the international countries who are supporting and praying for us during these difficult times. We thank you. I'm out.